beginning with concerns from parents and students from multiple school districts across the Midlands that have been either sent home to study at home for the day or even put on lockdown and had to shelter in place.
It is a situation that's brought a lot of concern to parents across the Midlands. Richland School District 2 students at 2 high schools will not be in class and will be learning from home tomorrow because of these recent safety concerns. The Richland County Sheriff's Department says it has been called to investigate these threats, and at this time they believe none of them have been credible.
Sheriff Leon Lott goes on to say the individuals behind these rumors create chaos and fear for no reason. This is a drain on school and public safety resources. In addition, the district held a press conference to address the issue.
This has been very traumatic. It is very unnerving. You know, we say we're all about student achievement, teaching and learning, but it's detracting and taken away from that, and it's got to stop.
The interim superintendent, Nancy Gregory, joining us now to talk more about the situation specific to Richland School District 2. Greg Turketta, who is the public information officer for the district, new to the Midlands. Greg, thanks for joining us today. Let's talk about the bottom line. What happens for students in Richland District 2 tomorrow because of the threats that we've had over the last several days?
Well, the bottom line for students in 2 schools, Richland Northeast High School and Spring Valley High School, is they'll be on at-home online learning. It's the safest way to do this because at the end of the day, really what we're talking about is student, staff safety and making sure we can provide a proper environment. So as we stay out of the way, we let the Richland County Sheriff's Office do their work, and they've been a phenomenal partner that we're communicating with multiple times a day, working with our IT people, working with our security people to really get to the bottom of what's going on. So for tomorrow, those 2 schools will be at home. We had 6 different school campuses in 7 different schools that received threats today. Oh. So the amount of resources that were pulled from one end of the county to the other, the schools that are going through it, the trauma that's with students. I was at Spring Valley this morning. We were able to look in the eyes of teachers, look into the eyes of students and see this is having an impact. This isn't just, oh, we're going to get evacuated and go home today. I mean, this is day 3 at Spring Valley. So it really sets us back as far as we go as a district with learning.
Greg, that's exactly what I was going to say, talking about the way this is affecting teachers and students. For any kids thinking that this is a harmless prank, explain what this does and what kind of upheaval this is.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. Anybody who would go to work, and if you would go to work and in the middle of your workday at any point, somebody could tap you on the shoulder and say you need to leave. And you know something's wrong, but you don't know what is wrong. And I would like to say to the parents that are listening too, we want to share as much as we can share as to what's going on. But there is a definitive line between what is part of an active investigation that the Richland County Sheriff's Office needs to protect and what we can tell parents. Because I've had many parents asking me, we need to know more, we need to know more transparency. More will come because the number one priority is to get the people or person that are doing this to stop and then create a safe environment for our kids to be in. And sometimes those 2 things have to stay apart for a little bit.
Greg, we talked about this not just as me being a journalist, but also me being a Richland 2 parent. And I felt that way. I felt like there wasn't enough information coming out. How do you help parents understand that their kids are still safe at school, even though you're not telling them everything they need to know?
Honestly, Darcy, part of that answer is trust. The details of how the threat came in, what the threat exactly said, those are things that are paramount to law enforcement. But as parents, we don't need to know that. You need to know that as far as the school district goes, if we evacuate a school, we're doing that out of an abundance of caution. We are always going to err on the side of caution because there's no makeover. If there's 7 threats and on one of the threats we decide, oh, it's not serious, then you have a situation you can't come back from. A lot of people will look at it and say, well, these things probably won't happen. But I will tell you, there's a school district in Virginia that might have thought that until a 6-year-old walked into school with a gun and shot a teacher. So we always look at the scenarios and say, anything can happen, and we have to make sure at the end of the day we did everything we can to keep people safe.
And last question, Greg, since we're talking about communication, what is the best way for a teacher, a parent, anybody that wants to follow what's going on? Do you guys put the messages out on Twitter, on Facebook, on email? How do they keep in touch with you to find out the very latest?
We're everywhere. We have something called Parent Square, which our parents are in. That gives my team the ability to send a text message, a phone call, an email directly to their devices. We're using social media. In the schools they're communicating, but my team alone has probably sent close to 50 messages this week.
Wow.
That's how much communication's been going on. Some of the communication you'll see district-wide, some of it is going directly to the school and their parents.
All right, Greg Turketta, thank you so much, Richland District 2, for your time. We wish you guys a calm rest of the week.
And coming up in the